Here's a quick training video showing sentiment analysis with unstructured text. So to get started, let's take a look at this dashboard. The primary data source for this is this sentiment file here, and then we're going to load that, and we're going to build this. Basically, it's a measure, like it's a ledger of different keywords, their counts, and their sentiment, and then we're going to wire everything up to the keywords, including this word cloud, this interactive word cloud. And so to get started, we'll go into row 64 and we'll connect, and we're going to load this sentiment table here, which is an example. Now, it's sort of an interesting table. There's a number of ways you can make this. So you can, what it's finding keywords, and it's scoring the sentiment for them, and it's sort of got some extra data on it. Like this one came from SEC file, so this is the actual name of the SEC file, the filing, the quarter, the source, the group, and so you can make this multiple ways. Python's very good at making this kind of data. You can use n-grams approach, or you could use a machine learning type approach to find keywords and sentences and to pull this data together. Okay, but now that we have it, we want to pull together basically this chart over here, which this keyword table. And so to do that, we're going to pull in the keyword and the count and the sentiment. So the keyword, count, and sentiment. And so we'll just create a cross link that is a here. We're not going to apply anything to it. So we've got the keyword, the sentiment, and we want to count the occurrences of this keyword. So it's kind of funny. We've got the both the sentiment and the keyword. So we want to kind of average those out, but we want to count the repeats here, right? So we kind of want to do a group by. So a normal group by would just be group by average. Here we go. Here, cross-link, transform, group by average. So if we ran that, that's going to give us the average sentiment. And hold on, that's on the wrong thing. So let's look at the input. We're going to group by the keyword. And so if we run that, you can see that'll give us the average keyword for the sentiment, but we can't count it. So we want to basically, we want something more complicated than the group average. We want to average the sentiment, and we want to group by the keyword, but we want to add the count in there. So to do that, we have this operator called group by ops. And so we're going to group by this column here. So you can see it's just grouped all these word togethers, but it allows us to add operators before. So I can add an operator here, and the operator I'm going to add is going to be, I go to my input column, is going to be the sentiment, and I'm going to do an average. So if I run that, this is kind of more advanced kind of grouping, because we want grouping with multiple operations. Some are being averaged, some are being counted. Yeah, it can also do some are being summed. So here we're going to add on the same on column AA, we're going to add count. And if we run that, so then we have this sort of keyword count here, and I think we can give it a name. So if I come out over here and I call this, instead of keyword count, we just want to call it count. There we go. And I'll give this one a name as the third argument, sentiment, and run it. And there we go. So now we've got our sentiment and our group. Now we want to sort it as well, which is good for the, this is good for the word cloud. So we're going to go in here and grab sort descending, and we're going to sort on by, so if I sort now, it's going to sort it here by the keyword, but I want to sort it by the count. And now we've got the biggest keywords first and the average sentiment. So what's cool about this is we're using cross-filtering. So of course you could all do this in Python and bring this in. And it's very common to have this kind of keyword count sentiment or just keyword and count data source. And so you could pull that in and make a word cloud about it. But the way we've done it through cross-filtering allows Row64 to use all these cross-filtering techniques and ways of looking at things that allow you to dig into the data in more detail. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so now we've got this, we can make a chart off of this. So let's go create a new word cloud, okay? And we don't really need to give it a title, but our word's going to come in here. Our frequencies are going to be our count, and our sentiment's going to be right here. And we create that, and there we are. So if we look at the settings, we can say, well, if you look at our example here, we've got a lot more word density here than this example. So I say that's better density. We can adjust how much is vertical, but I think that's looking pretty good. And okay, so from here, we're going to build the dashboard. So if we look at this dashboard, it's kind of in half. This one is in a few sections. It's kind of hard to tell. Okay, I'll divide it in half and half first. So I'll go dashboard new, and the first half is this way here, half here, and this one goes in half. Okay, so it's kind of like that. And here I've got my word cloud, and oh, if I'm going to pull that in, see it's got a little bit of padding. I'm going to pull that out. I think in the word cloud itself, yeah, see I can drag this to the edges, and there it's totally filled to the edge. So I'm going to rename these two. This one I'm going to call, I'll just call this, yeah, I'll call this one sentiment, rename sentiment, and I'm going to call this one, I'll call this one keywords anyways. Words, I didn't hit enter. Rename key sentiment. Okay, but then what we're going to have to do is if we go run this, it won't. Oh, it did catch the, oh, that's cool. So it got that table. It pulls this through. That's running. Did the word cloud get the links? Now the word cloud, we're going to have to, here, I'm just going to drag it over here. We're going to have to, it's grabbing CrossDF for us, so we just have to, now we've renamed it. Okay, that's fine. Yes. Okay, there we go. Hit update, and so now we're wired back up again. Okay. So now let's pull the raw sentiment into here. And if we look over here, this is, let's just divide it in half to start. So I'll go over here, divide it in half, and then I'm going to put my keywords over there. Okay, that's working good. I think I want them a little smaller, so I'll just kind of scrunch that down a bit, scrunch the count in just so you can really see it there without taking too much space. I'll probably scale that down a little bit. I think in the zoom scales it down just slightly because this is a pretty dense dashboard. All right, so here at the top, we were wanting to make some UI here. So we've got our date range. So this is it's sort of divided in two. Okay. This top part is divided in 3, and this bottom part is divided in 2 and 2. So basically here. Okay, that looks good. No. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, we're okay. There's 3 here, 2 and 2. 3 here, 2 and 2. I think it's got a little more space in that. All right, so let's keep going. So now we're going to let's hook up our sentiment. So our sentiment value, we're going to filter that to start. So we'll go into preview mode. This sentiment we're going to filter between. So if we look at our sentiment values, what are they like? So these keywords, sentiments range, I think between 1 and -1. Yeah, that's correct. So we're going to build this min sentiment as our first piece. So I will get a widget. I'll make it a slider, and I will call it min min, I think, is it called min over here? A min sen. Okay. And we're going to hook that up to our sentiment column. Okay, and we're going to say it's less than, and it's going to be the default is -1, the minimum is -1, and the max is 1. And change that, and I'm not change. You just pull back this, give it a little space. Okay, so let's just publish that and see how that's working. So I'll just call it sentiment sent01 publish, and we'll pull that over. And so we did it backwards, that the min sentiment should by default, see here we pulled it down so there's just no data in the chart. So it should be by default 1. That's what I've learned. So this, see here we're going into negative space here, and that's what this does, it pulls it down. Okay, so if we go in here and set the default value to 1, change, you don't have to hit enter, so you just run it. Okay, let's look at that now. And I'm going to hit F4, so I'm in interactive slider mode, and that's working. And see, you can see it filtering this piece over here. Okay, so that's all working nicely, and it's filtering out these different sentiments. This seems like it's a little zoomed in to me, so I'll zoom it out more, and this I'll just get out a little more, just maybe to 1. Okay, so now we're going to do the max sentiment, which is the same thing, but the opposite way. So we're going to make a slider, and we're going to call it max sen. Okay, and it's going to be a greater than, and the default is going to be -1, and the min is -1, and the max is 1, and the padding here will change the same. Okay, and then we'll publish that. Publish, yes. And now I have to hit F4, so I'm in interactive slider mode. Oh, I didn't wire any column. Okay, so it's not updating anything. So double click on here, and we have to connect it to our keyword sentiment column. Okay, let's publish it. Hit F4. Yeah, there we are. So now we're looking at this high sentiment, and we're filtering that way. And here we're lowering the lower sentiment. We're filtering that way. So we have the primary mechanism in this dashboard working, and it's cool, right? Like you can go, okay, well, I'll just show a few more things. I'll talk about how it's working. So here we're going to say the sentiment and the count. So here we're going to say this is just sentiment, and I believe this is the average sentiment, okay, of everything we have in our cross filter. So I'll just say average keyword of here, and then this one is going to be the count. So I go type count here, and this one is funny enough going to be the sum. So you would think for a count we would do the count, but we're actually summing the count column. And so, we don't want to have a 0 on there, obviously. Okay, so now let's look at this. We'll publish it. Okay, so again, hit F4. And so you can see the sentiment is going up as we're filtering the max sentiment. And the count is going down when we do any kind of filtering. You just see how many records you have and what the average sentiment is there inside the cross filter, which is pretty awesome. And then this also will be filtered, you see, by clicking on individual records. Just the nature of cross filtering, it comes through and filters it, and then you can look at all those records. So this, the beauty of cross filtering really becomes clear here, just how nicely it all pulls together. Okay, so the next piece we're going to do is we're going to filter the group and the source, so that's not going to be too hard. I go here, and I'm just going to have a UI widget, and I'm going to filter. This would be one of these auto combo filters, and I'm just filtering. So I'm going back and I'm filtering off the sentiment now. So I'm going above it, but it will pull through. So we're gonna have the group. So this is sort of layering above and group. Here we go. I'm gonna pad that out as much as possible. And this one I'm gonna call the same thing, just auto filter. Here I'm gonna grab the source. So even though I'm going above the keyword, I'm going right to the root, I'm gonna filter out above all the cross filtering below it. So it'll work out fine. And I believe that's how it is on the dashboard. Yep. Here, I'll just close this here. Okay. Okay, and we'll call this source, which is what that column is called. Okay, and publish. Yes. And so now we have all the sources. Here's the Reddit source. Here's the Twitter source. And so what it's this one here is filtering the kind of root, the link, the part coming from the right from the live data frame, right from the server, and then that's filtering into this keywords one. And so these are filtering the root, the live data frame. Okay, so we just have one more piece to add here. This has gone very well. We're just going to add this date range. Okay, so adding this date range, we're just going to use a date range widget, and just come into here and add that widget. Select date range, and we're going to go from, we know the dates on this, so it's the one. So this SEC data is from 2015 to 1/6/2020, and we can pull the padding out a little bit. Change. I'm not going to change it. It just does it live. And when I publish this, oops. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Publish. Here, I'll give it a new name here. And why is that one? Oh, I didn't connect it to a column. So if you don't connect it to anything, it's just basically disconnected. So we need to connect it to the date here. And here we go. So if you don't wire it up, it doesn't work. And publish. And there we go. We've got our date range. We've got our interactive sentiment. And everything has worked out great. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial.